Bitcoin market's pumping, cryptocurrencies are pumping. The news is throwing us all of the good stuff that we want to hear to make us feel like our bags are going to make it to the moon. But of course, it's me, your Hopium free dealer, and I have some FUD to share with you. With my channel, 250,000 subscribers, thank you very much for subscribing and liking the content. There's no way in hell that we can move these markets unless you do have those tens of billions of dollars that you're not telling us about. So with that in mind, just because there is a FUD title, and I'm speaking to the few here, but everyone else can have a bit of a laugh at the same time, we can't move markets with these titles. So let's have a look at what the news is saying. But of course, the main thing that we love to look at here are the charts to give us the news before it happens. So with that in mind, like, share, subscribe. Let's dive in. I'm looking at coin market cap here. We have 5 stable coins that are in the top 20. And if we add them up, Tether, USDC, Binance USD, Terra USD, and DAI, they come to about $160 billion. And that's about a little less than half of Ethereum's total value here. So stablecoins are still pretty high up the list at the moment. With that in mind, it could be because the market is neutral. It's not sure what it wants to do. We've finally hit that level of neutrality at 48. Yesterday was only 45 at fear, and then the last few weeks we've been at fear and extreme fear. And of course, we've been looking at purchasing Bitcoin at these lows, as you've seen with the fear and greed index. So for those that are thinking I'm selling, I don't know what they're saying. Go and check out some of the comments. Hit us up in the replies down there and let me know how you've been going with your own investment plans as well. The current price is around 44,000. That means we're up at about 25% based on just buying fear at 15 or under. The average price is at $35,500 per Bitcoin. So with that in mind, I'm not saying we have to sell. I know there's always someone saying down there in the comments that we are selling, but if we were looking to take some profits, 20-25% probably isn't too bad. It's not life-changing money, but at least it's 20 or 25% just based on something really simple, and then looking at maybe some support and resistance levels. That doesn't mean we have to take the entire bag as a profit. We don't have to sell out of everything, but maybe we can skim some off the top to start to reduce the average price. So that's basically just trading and investing 101, just to get some of your total investment out so you have some more capital to throw back in. We'll leave the total of that, more info, for another video, but that's just to give you an idea of where we currently sit with the fear and greed plan. Really simple, 25% up as of today's price. If you are interested in learning more about how to trade and invest full time, check out the link in the top of the description. That's for our Patreon members. We catch up once a week, group calls, exclusive posts, and plenty of worksheets to cover over there. I know the markets have been really hot over the last few days. The prices are up. Bitcoin, ETH, dog coins, everything is up. Why am I bringing you some FUD? Well, Kazakhstan floats a 500% tax increase on Bitcoin miners. If you remember what happened back in May when China banned mining and the miners had to leave China and find somewhere else to set up, we had a temporary dip in the market. So this doesn't mean the market has to be over and we go into a massive long bear market, but it's something that I'm definitely keeping an eye on, and I thought I would share that with you guys as well. So if we've got a massive tax over in Kazakhstan, as we can see here from some of the miners, they're also looking to leave Kazakhstan and looking to relocate to the US or Russia. So although the markets are really positive at the moment, I think once that positivity wears off, and it always does, we always go through a cycle of fear and greed, then something like this doesn't have to, but it may come to the forefront, and this could then scare off people and say, well, we've probably got some downtime to go until some of these miners in Kazakhstan potentially leave and set up shop, relocate in the US or in Russia. There is some favorable tweets here from the Russian President Vladimir Putin, seeming support for continued crypto mining in the country. So it's not too far to go from Kazakhstan to Russia. And therefore, I don't think it should be such a down period for the market if this is the only factor that pushes the market down. Continuing with the uncertainties in the market, oil steadies above $91 with focus turning towards Iran nuclear talks. So the uncertainties continue, whether it is in oil prices, commodity prices, wars, or even the Fed hitting on those interest rates. And we saw overnight NASDAQ lower highs, higher lows. So it's in an uncertain period just for that short-term movement. But that hasn't affected crypto over the last 24 hours. So very, very short-term look here. We did close underneath our 50% level. although we did touch the $2 trillion mark that we were looking for. Ideally here, we want to see at least three daily closes above that resistance level, consolidation, and then we move towards the next levels. And obviously they're 2.25 here. And then the major one that I'm looking for, the holy grail, around the 2.5 trillion on the total market cap. And what does that look like for Bitcoin? Well, it's around that $52,000 to $54,000 level. 52K has been the level that I've been looking at for a long time, because that is where the market basically triple topped in December and late December before the market tanked from that point. So if we can get back above that, that is the really positive sign for Bitcoin and hopefully for the rest of the cryptocurrency. Now, looking at this pattern here, we are looking at the potential of a disbelief rally, meaning we shoot up, come back down, hopefully a higher low before we take off, or it's a suckers rally. If I look back at history, just looking at some chart patterns, which we always do, I don't often see the market just shoot up in a straight line and then continue up. It can do that, but it's going to be a shorter move. Maybe we go to 80 grand, 90 grand, 100 grand. There's your Hopium. Enjoy that. But I want to trade. I want to invest for massive moves. I want to go above 100 grand, hopefully 200 grand. Let's see what happens from this point. But what we need to see in order for that to happen is longer drawn out periods. So every time we see a market just shoot up after a relatively steady decline, you can see pretty sharp declines, and we had a bounce, decline and a bounce, decline and a bounce. It generally continues down until it's had time to accumulate. So I'm not getting my hopes up for this because it looks pretty similar. We had a sharp decline, we've moved up, we didn't get too far up in the last pump from 28K to 69K. If that's all you're looking for in a market, that's a different trading plan. But I'm looking for something a lot bigger than that. And to get bigger moves, we need longer periods of accumulation before we can pump harder. So I'm long-term bullish. I want big prices in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, but I want them from a steady, solid foundation, not the SHIB type of up and down move. But of course, what I want and what the market gives me are usually two different things. On to some of the big bullish positive pumpable news. Tesla's Bitcoin strategy is working, annual report suggests. So they're up around $500 million from their investment exactly a year ago, so this article says, and that's on top of the $128 million that they made from selling some of the Bitcoin last March. So after they bought some, they sold some just to test it out, and they're still up. So hopefully this gives some positive light to other companies who are looking to get into crypto during this period of stagnation or relatively bearish periods. And indeed it has. KPMG Canada adds Bitcoin and Ethereum to its balance sheet. It's an accounting giant. If you're unfamiliar with KPMG, maybe you've seen this logo. They're one of the big four accounting agencies. British Dutch multinational, one of the big four accounting organizations, which includes PricewaterhouseCoopers, Deloitte, and Ernst & Young. You may be familiar with those. So a big accounting agency getting into Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're saying it's crypto assets are a maturing asset class. So this is their Canadian arm that is investing into this. Long term, it definitely looks like we get some of these big players, and we're going to need a lot more of these big players to pump these prices of Bitcoin up into the trillions of dollars of market cap. And what else will help that? Valkyrie Capital Bitcoin Mining ETF to debut on the NASDAQ under the ticker symbol of WGMI. We're all going to make it. As for the retail investors, they're going to get absolutely flogged with commercials during the Super Bowl of cryptocurrency. FTX has got an ad coming up. You can win a lot of money in Bitcoin. They don't know yet, which is why I was hesitant. They don't know how much, 1 million, 1.5 million. It just depends on what time the ad will come out as to how many Bitcoin they will give away. So keep an eye out for that. You've got FTX advertising. Obviously, crypto.com is there as well. You probably see something to do with Coinbase or Binance as well. So retail is going to be flogged this week, which leads me to believe this is part of this pump here, the whole buy the rumor, sell the news type event. We've seen it so much in cryptocurrency. But wait, there's more Hopium. Bitcoin will reach 200 grand in second half of 2022. FS Insight says Ether could also reach 12 grand as well. Now, I usually put some of this Hopium into two baskets, stuff that actually makes sense and can go there. You know, the fundamentals are behind it. Even the news, like we just saw with crypto.com and FTX, putting up ads for crypto, that can push prices up for a period of time. This sort of stuff, I need to look back. Who is FSI Insight? Well, it's our old friend from 2017's bull market, Tom Lee, not the drummer. FS Insight. It's a evidence-based only institutional grade service for RIA individuals. Now, if you look back at some of the news articles from 2017, 2018, Tom Lee was also talking up Bitcoin there and using the same sort of jargon that we often see from Bitcoin maxis, possibly even noobs. If Bitcoin gets to 5% of gold market, that's roughly around 50 grand. This article is from early 2018, as you can see from here. There's no date on it, but from early 2018. And in 2018, Tom Lee was also looking for Bitcoin to go back to at least 20 grand by mid 2018. So Bitcoin had slumped to about 12 grand, 15 grand at this time. Bitcoin obviously never made it that far and then dumped to $3,000 later this year. So really understand where these headlines are coming from. Tom Lee with his fund here talking about 200 grand Bitcoin in the second half, maybe. But if I look back at the history of all of these other calls, and I'm sure you can do that with mine, just don't look at all of the thumbnails, go back into the content like we do with these articles, then you can see what's actually going on here. Overall, market is up, we're all going to be right, and we're all going to make it. Speaking of making it, Ethereum is getting closer to that 100% net reduction, so it's almost burning as much as it is mining. This has slowly been increasing over time. You can keep track of it at watchtheburn.com or keep up to date with the videos here. Make sure you've liked and subscribed with the bell notification icon. We're now 6 weeks into 2022 and the year has been shaky. It's what we've been expecting for Q1 and Q2. The news is driving a lot of the uncertainty with the highs and the lows, and we're just not seeing a clear trend at the moment. But I'm sure we'll start to see something eventuate throughout the second half of 2022. For now, we sit back, enjoy the ride of the Hopium and the FUD, and just hope for the best in later part of the year. Don't get me wrong, there's still plenty of opportunities at this time if you're willing to do the work. Trading is generally the way to go if you're fully immersed into cryptocurrency. We've obviously seen a lot of accumulation and now we've seen those small pumps to the upsides. Possibly taking the profits and running is what many people are doing. Others are holding on for dear life at this point in time. Either way, check out the links in the description down below for SwiftX and Bybit. I'll see you guys at the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more done.